Welcome back to Investing Talk podcast. Today we're tackling a question a lot of you have been asking. Is Critical Metals Core a good time to buy now? Before we get into it, if you're finding value in these discussions, please do hit that subscribe button, maybe give us a like and leave a comment. And hey, if there's a specific company you'd like us to look into next time, just drop its name in the comments below. We do read those. Okay, let's get started. We've gathered some really interesting insights on CRML, that's Critical Metals Core, from recent reports and analysis. We're going to look at their project catalysts, the market outlook, and really dig into their financial and technical situation. It's quite the case study, especially with, the global focus on critical metals these days.
Absolutely. What's fascinating here is how Critical Metals Core sits right at the intersection of some pretty high-stakes trends. We'll be looking at how recent developments have positioned them and what that really means for you, the investor, considering it's kind of pre-production company. It's definitely a compelling story, huge potential, you could argue, but also, well, significant risk. We need to explore both sides thoroughly.
Okay, let's kick things off by looking back a bit. What has Critical Metals Core actually been up to lately? What's the progress on their key projects?
Well, the last 3 months have been pretty busy for them. Just recently, in September 2025, they announced a major milestone. It was for their Tanbreeze Rare Earth Project's Bankable Feasibility Study, the BFS. They hit about 70% completion.
Okay, 70%, and they're targeting Q4 for delivery.
That's the plan, Q4 2025. And importantly, they also wrapped up significant environmental baseline field work. Now, this isn't just paperwork. This shows real movement towards getting permits and financing lined up. Crucial steps.
Right, those environmental hurdles can be huge for miners.
Exactly. And this groundwork is key for engaging with governments, communities, all essential for the long run.
Okay, so that was September. What about before that?
Going back to August 2025, their field campaigns at Tanbreeze turned up some really exceptional mineralization extensions.
Yeah.
We saw drill results like from holes DDH-25-1, D25-7, and 25-7C, confirming substantial rare earth element grades.
So indicating the resource could be bigger than they thought?
Precisely. It
Yeah.
suggests continued resource expansion, and then their technical team followed up with core processing and analysis, which validated the grade consistency and the potential scale. That kind of ground truthing is vital.
Gotcha. And wasn't there news on their other project too? They're not just Tanbreeze.
Correct. In July 2025, the focus also included their Wolfsburg lithium project over in Austria. This really positions CRML as a multi-asset company, which investors like to see. Diversification, sort of.
Uh-huh. And what are they doing with Wolfsburg?
They've been actively talking with potential offtake partners, downstream players, aiming to establish Wolfsburg as a key European lithium producer. And the company's been smart, highlighting the strategic importance of both Tanbreeze and Wolfsburg for, Western electrification efforts.
That dual asset strategy must be attracting some attention, especially now.
Definitely. Particularly with governments keen on securing supply chains outside of, certain regions. If you connect these dots, these recent activities show real, tangible progress in de-risking their main assets. The environmental studies are crucial for getting regulatory green lights. The Tanbreeze mineralization extensions, they directly impact the project's future economics. Better resource, potentially better financing.
And having the lithium angle with Wolfsburg broadens their appeal.
Exactly. It diversifies their exposure within critical materials. That's pretty significant for their overall valuation and strategic place in the market, especially with Europe pushing hard for EV battery independence.
Okay, so that's the recent past. What about the immediate future? What should investors be watching for in the next, say, 3 months?
Oh, it's shaping up to be a very busy end of the year for them. The calendar looks pretty packed.
Lay it out for us. What are the key dates?
All right. First up, October 10th, 2025. That's their Q3 earnings release. Then, just 11 days later, October 21st, keep an eye out for potential ETF rebalancing.
Ah, right. Inclusion or exclusion there could definitely move the stock.
For sure. Then, November 27th is slated for a Resource Project Holiday Progress Update. Could be interesting.
Okay.
December 5th, we'll see new institutional position disclosures, the 13F filings. That gives us a sense of what the big funds are doing.
Always insightful to see where the institutional money is flowing.
Yep. And finally, December 19th wraps things up with Q4 guidance and their end-year business outlook. So yeah, a lot happening.
Wow, okay. That is a lot. So this raises a big question. How are investors likely to react to all this? What are the expectations?
Good question. Expectations will definitely be high. especially around the Tanbreez BFS finalization and those extended resource estimate results we talked about. Investors will be laser-focused on any changes to cost, scale, or timelines compared to what was said before. You'll see that scrutiny during the Q3 and Q4 calls.
Any surprises there could really swing sentiment.
Absolutely. And there'll be increased focus on Wolfsburg, too. Any progress updates, any hints of new downstream agreements. Plus, those market events like ETF rebalancing and the 13F filings, especially as awareness grows about CRML's role in the energy transition. Well, that's likely to drive some significant trading volatility. Portfolio managers will be reassessing.
Okay, so lots of known events. But what about the unknown? The market loves chatter, rumors, any speculative catalysts swirling around CRML?
Ah, yes. Beyond the official calendar, there's always the rumor mill, isn't there? And for CRML, there are a few interesting whispers.
Do tell. What's being talked about?
Well, one persistent rumor is about a potential strategic partnership announcement. Chatter suggests management might be in talks with a major EV player or someone in the battery supply chain.
For an offtake agreement, or maybe a joint venture.
Exactly, either at Wolfsburg or Tanbreez. That kind of deal could seriously de-risk the financing side.
That would be huge. What else?
There's also speculation about government grants or support, maybe funding from Greenland or the EU to help with technical or environmental milestones.
Given the strategic importance, that doesn't sound totally out of left field.
No, it fits the narrative. Another rumor, often seen in mining circles, points towards a larger company possibly evaluating CRML as a takeover target.
Really? For direct access to those rare earths, especially in Europe?
That's the speculation. Direct access is highly coveted right now. And finally, there are some unconfirmed reports hinting at a technical update.
What kind of update?
Potentially showing much better recovery rates or maybe lower operating costs at Tanbreez based on that recent core analysis. If that pans out, it would significantly boost the project's economics.
Okay, so partnerships, government support, takeover talk, technical breakthroughs, lots of potential upside if any of that proves true.
Exactly. What's interesting is how these rumors, even though they're just rumors, really reflect how strategically important CRML's assets are perceived to be in the current global climate. They hint at potentially transformative events.
Yeah.
But, and this is crucial for you listening, these are speculative, purely speculative.
Right. Cannot bank on rumors.
Absolutely not.
No.
While these things could be game changers, there's zero guarantee. They aren't factored into the current fundamental picture. Approach with a very healthy dose of skepticism. They're icing, not the cake.
Got it. Okay, let's put the rumors aside and ground ourselves back in the hard facts. This brings us to a really important question. What does Critical Metals Corp's financial health actually look like right now?
Right, the reality check. As an early-stage mining company, CRML isn't reporting any material revenue. No positive earnings either, which is, pretty standard at this stage. Their 2024 annual report showed immaterial revenue. And, as you'd expect, net losses are increasing as they ramp up exploration spending.
How much spending are we talking about?
They've budgeted about $10 million just for Tanbreez advancement by the end of 2025. And there's no analyst consensus on future earnings yet because, well, they're pre-production. It's all about potential down the road.
Okay, so pre-revenue, big plans, significant costs. That leads us straight to the balance sheet. How are they fixed for cash? What about liabilities?
Their total liabilities were around $15.2 million at the end of December 2024. More importantly, cash flow is negative. That's driven by all the exploration and development spending.
And that spending is set to increase.
Yes, the cash burn is expected to accelerate in 2025 as Tanbreez work ramps up. Now, liquidity. They had $7.8 million in cash and equivalents as of December 2024.
Only $7.8 million, with a $10 million budget just for Tanbreez this year.
Exactly. It highlights a significant, almost immediate, reliance on getting more financing. That potential Ex-Im Bank commitment we mentioned. It's not just nice to have, it feels pretty essential. Their operational runway looks quite short without it.
That's a critical risk factor right there.
Absolutely. It's something any potential investor needs to weigh very carefully.
Okay, and competitively. Within this critical metals space, how do they stack up? Are they unique?
They're definitely in a highly strategic sector. Rare earths are vital for electrification, national security, you name it. Currently, they own 42% of the Tanbreez Green rare earth mine. Now, they do have an option to acquire up to 92.5%.
But there's a catch, isn't there?
There is. It's contingent on spending another $10 million, and it would likely require issuing shares valued at around $116 million.
Oof. That's a significant dilution risk for current shareholders.
Massive dilution risk. It's that classic trade-off. More ownership, but potentially at a steep cost to existing holders.
What about advantages?
The major potential advantage, the real potential game changer, is that non-binding letter of intent from the U.S. Export-Import Bank, up to $120 million in financing.
Of non-binding.
Non-binding and subject to material conditions is a very hopeful sign, a big carrot, but it is absolutely not a done deal yet.
Okay. Let's shift to the stock itself. For those looking at the charts, what's the technical picture? How has CRML been trading?
Right. As of September 5th, 2025, the stock closed at $5.81. Over the past month, it's been trading roughly between $5.40 and $6.20. It shows moderate volatility, which, as I mentioned, is pretty typical for a small-cap pre-production miner like this.
Any key levels to watch? Support, resistance?
Yeah, key support seems to be around that $5.40 mark, with resistance up at $6.20. So the 20-day moving average is hovering near $5.91. Suggesting sort of sideways momentum right now, not a strong directional trend. And the RSI, the Relative Strength Index, is in the low 50s.
So neither overbought nor oversold.
Yeah.
Just kind of neutral?
Pretty much neutral territory. So the price action itself isn't giving a strong buy or sell signal, but the volatility is definitely elevated, which might attract some short-term traders.
Okay, so if the charts aren't screaming conviction, let's circle back to those risks. You've mentioned a few, but pulling it all together, how significant is the overall risk profile for CRML?
Stepping back, yeah, the risks are substantial. You really can't understate them for an early-stage company like this. Stock-specific risks. Number one is execution risk on that Exxon bank financing. If that doesn't close or gets delayed significantly, it's a major problem.
And the dilution risk you mentioned.
Huge dilution risk, especially with that potential $116 million share issuance for the full mine acquisition. That could really hit existing shareholders. And then there's just plain operational risk. They are pre-production. There's absolutely no guarantee they'll successfully reach commercial production. Their entire business model is still fundamentally hypothetical.
And broader market risks.
Of course. You've got commodity price volatility. Rare earth prices can swing wildly. Geopolitical risks are always a factor, especially given where most rare earths are currently sourced and processed.
Right, the China factor.
Exactly. And then just the general high sector risk associated with any pre-revenue mining exploration company. It's a tough business. High potential reward, yes, but undeniably high risk.
Okay, so summing it all up then, what's the overall picture for Critical Metals Corp based on everything we've discussed?
All right, the overall picture is this. CRML's near-term momentum is really anchored by advancing those project studies, particularly the BFS, and expanding the resource at Cambreeze. Key value drivers in the near term are that BFS completion and potentially attracting new institutional interest, maybe spurred by those 13F filings or ETF inclusions.
Yes.
Strategically, the company remains well-positioned. They sit at that intersection of rare earth and lithium supply chains, both critical for Europe's electrification goals and, frankly, Western security interests.
But there's always a but.
There is. The overall rating, based on our sources, comes out as a 4 out of 10.
A 4 out of 10, that sounds quite low.
It is low. But what's interesting about that 4, maybe, is that for a pre-revenue miner, it actually reflects some credible potential. It's not a 0. That potential comes from those strategic assets, Cambreeze and Wolfsburg, and that Egessen Bank LOI. It suggests the market sees a pathway, however risky, not just a complete long shot.
Okay, so why only a 4 then?
Because the company is highly speculative. It's pre-production, no real revenues, negative cash flow. Huge potential upside if the financing closes, if Cambreeze reaches production. But those are big ifs. They're contingent events with substantial uncertainty and, as we've hammered home, significant dilution risk.
So the tailwinds are there, government support, supply chain concerns,
Right.
but they don't outweigh the current fundamentals.
Not for a favorable rating right now, especially not for short-term or risk-averse investors. The long-term promise exists, but the present reality is quite challenging.
So boiling it down for you, the listener, what does this all mean if you're looking at CRML?
The investment horizon here seems much more suited for speculative short-term trading. Playing the news, the catalyst events we talked about. It doesn't really look like a long-term buy-and-hold investment at this point, not unless or until those crucial financing and production milestones are definitively hit.
So high risk tolerance required.
Absolutely. You need a high tolerance for risk and a very keen eye on those upcoming milestones. Now, for an investor seeking that potential multi-bagger, maybe willing to take a punt, this 4 out of 10 signals, okay, here's a high risk, high reward play, but they need to go in with their eyes wide open to all the challenges.
Phew. Okay, that was a really thorough look at critical metals core, pulling from all those sources. We've covered the catalysts, the rumors, and the sometimes stark financial and technical realities. It's definitely clear that while the potential is intriguing, the path forward is absolutely littered with challenges. Needs careful thought.
It really does. And maybe this raises an important question for you, the listener, to ponder. Given how strategically vital rare earths and lithium are for electrification in the West, how much weight do you personally put on that future potential versus the current financial stability or lack thereof when looking at a company like CRML? And maybe think about what specific milestone for you would be the signal that this speculative play has genuinely turned a corner and become something more solid. Is it the BFS completion, the IXM financing closing, first production? Worth considering your own triggers.
That's a fantastic point, a great question to leave everyone with. Thank you for joining us for this analysis, and thanks to all of you for listening. Remember to subscribe, like the episode if you found it useful, and leave us a comment with your thoughts on CRML or maybe another company you want us to examine. We'll be back soon with another look into the markets. Until then, stay informed and make wise investment decisions.